our yearly wrap-up. This is a fun one.
It's 2023, baby girl.
It's almost the end of 2023. We've had a very fun year. It's been a very busy year, but also a very different year for the channel. We've done like a lot of new things. We've done a lot of things differently. We've done more just with how busy life is. We've done more solo stuff than we've ever done.
We never did solo stuff before, yeah. We do solo stuff now. Thank you for the support on that, by the way. That's lovely. We always said we didn't really want to do that, but it has got to the point where it is just hard. Interviews, particularly with Johnny working during working hours when a lot of bands are free to do the talks, has made
Time
that hard.
zones as well.
And then I travel a bit more than Johnny does, therefore being able to do some reactions when I'm gone. So thank you for all the support on that. It's really cool.
Yeah, we kind of figured ultimately some videos is better than no videos in that respect. So, and obviously we want to keep bringing you guys as much stuff as we can. But what we're going to do, what we're here to talk about, is we're here to talk about our favourite things of the year and maybe our least favourite things of the year.
So we will share on our story. We will have done this by now, but you will have seen this because we're going to put it on today while filming. A template that one of our lovely party people has made for us, a 2023 breakdown template. So we've got top 5 albums, top 3 EPs, honourable mentions, songs you couldn't get enough of, discovery of the year, live show of the year, disappointment of the year, and surprise of the year. So we've gone through and filled out these. We haven't gone together on this one. We have done them separately.
We're probably going to have some... Yeah, we haven't even spoken about this. We're probably going to have some the same, I would imagine.
You know what I looked at the other day?
What did you look at?
You know that Spotify has that blend playlist thing?
Yes.
You and I have a blend.
Yes.
Ours is 95% the same. Our music taste.
Yeah.
I was like,
so.
yeah, someone's beat you.
What?
One of our party people, Andreas, asked me if I could do it with him. He's like, I'd love to see. And he and I had a 97% match.
Well, I need to do one with Andreas now to see if
I'd say be less. I think
you reckon?
I think he gets more into like the pop punk and stuff that like regularly than you do.
Yeah.
So you might have more of the heavy stuff. He doesn't listen to as much like heavy as you would. So that's where
I like my heavies.
We can tell. Anyway, you can check out our socials. Make sure you're following us at Nath and Johnny because you'll get that in our stories. Start us off. What do you want to start off with your top 5 or top 4 and then give us your number 1?
Well, I said the honourable mentions.
No, I was going to do top 5 albums and then we can go to honourable mentions after.
Well, if we're... Oh, so you want to do 4 albums and then the big one.
Yeah.
I don't have a specific single number 1 this year.
I do.
You do?
I did put them in order for me.
You know what? I actually do. Now that I think about it. Okay, so I'll go first then. So the 4 leading up to that, because they're all pretty much equal for me, the 4 leading up to it, I'm going to start off with the obvious one, Thrice, The Artist in the Ambulance Revisited.
Sure.
I thought that was just a fantastic thing for a band to do and nail it and make their song sound more relevant, a little different vibe.
As someone who never listened to the original album, how different is it?
It's a little different. Yeah, it's mostly or mainly. Pick a fucking letter. A word. Good.
It's been a long year.
It's mainly in the production and Dustin's vocals that I notice it.
Okay.
Because obviously 20 years down the track, your voice is going to sound naturally different. But that's why I loved it as well, is because I was so pleasantly surprised that he could sound as ferocious as he did on that album. And I think his natural grit actually served most of those songs much better.
Okay, so is that number 1?
That's my first one, yeah.
That's your number 1 album of the year?
It's not album of the year.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm going backwards.
Cool.
Then we've got Silent Planet Super Bloom. Now, I've always loved this band, but I just think with this album, they just hit new heights. They introduce new sounds, new vibes, and that is a front-to-back great album. There's no skips. Next, we have Currents, The Death We Seek. Currents, for me, were a band that did metalcore just right. Really well. Inventive, catchy riffs, really big choruses, some insanely heavy moments. Then we've got Holding Absence, The Noble Art of Self-Destruction. The English lads.
The English lovely lads.
Lucas and the boys, we'll call them. These guys just absolutely smashed this one out of the park. It is one of the most beautiful and just accessibly wonderful albums I've heard in a long time. Lucas is sounding better than ever. The band is sounding better than ever. They've kept everything that made them so special when I first found them.
But elevated.
But elevated it. Yeah. My number one album for the year is Polaris Fatalism.
Was that 5 just then?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I'm giving Polaris number one because I truly believe it's a perfect metalcore album front to back.
Great.
It's great. No skips.
Yeah.
Every person in that band has excelled at what they've done. And on top of that, the adversity that they went through this year, I'm giving them number one not only because it's my favourite album of the year, but because I just
What
think
they came together.
that they really showed how much of a tight unit they are and how much of a special group of people they are. So they got my number one spot.
I like that. We do have a few in common there.
Ooh.
Number 5 for me was Fall Out Boy. So Much for Stardust. This album for me was a return to form in a huge way.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the more I listened to it, the more I got out of it. I feel like first few listens, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. It sounds like a bit more of like an old vibe. And then the more I've listened to it, the more it stood out to me as being a phenomenally well produced, written, and performed album.
Yeah.
So that gets number 5. Number 4, Polaris, Fatalism. Same, all the reasons you just said. I think it's a phenomenal album. 3, Blink-182, One More Time.
Ah, okay.
That album for me it exceeded expectations. And one of the biggest things with that is that this is a band that's been going for how many fucking years?
Yeah.
And then come out, and not to write an album being like, oh, we're back and here's another album, but to write one of their best albums. And I generally stand by that. That is one of their best albums.
Yeah.
It has all of the elements of all three musicians and everything they've done pulled into one cohesive piece.
For sure.
So One More Time is in there for me. Next, I had Super Bloom, Silent Planet. Now, Super Bloom was very close contender for Album of the Year for me. As we said, I think it's just all new heights of those dudes. They've just progressed and they're doing a sound like no one else. It's just phenomenal.
I know what your number one's going to be, I think.
Yeah. This album, it's weird because when you go through my Wrapped, it actually wasn't as high in there, but the songs were.
Yeah.
Take Me Back to Eden. It was, for me, my most probably replayed album as a whole that I listened to front to back so many times. I feel like, Sleep Token are getting the credit they deserve at the moment. Mm-hmm. They're probably getting more than they deserve, if we're being honest. Like, they're getting so much hype about them, but this album absolutely delivered. And it had so many standout songs that weren't the singles, and I love that. There's songs in there like I was like, oh my god, that's phenomenal, that's phenomenal. And songs that I sort of skipped over the first time around have grown on me later on, so Sleep Token got my number one album this year.
Well, let's go on to honourable mentions then.
Okay, sure.
For albums this year. My first honourable mention is Sleep Token, Take Me Back to Eden.
That makes sense.
So the reason that it didn't make it into my top albums this year is because I found myself, as you may have noticed with those ones that I've chosen, is I went back to a little bit more straight up metalcore.
Yes.
And I hadn't been as impressed with metalcore as a whole genre last year as I was this year. So I was really in my zone with that. And obviously, like my girlfriend is a big metalcore fan. So we bonded over a lot of that sort of stuff, even going listening to older stuff and finding new stuff together. And the other thing with Sleep Token is I don't think I was as blown away as everyone because, and not to be I was listening to them fucking ages ago, but I've been listening to them for a long time.
Yeah.
And they kind of progressed the way I expected them to. So it wasn't like this has blown me away. It's just like, this is fucking fantastic.
Yeah. See, as an old fan, that's what I liked about it. I feel like they paid dues to their older fans with some call back stuff in there. I feel like that kind of, as an old fan, made me like the album more.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which is like on the flip side of what you're saying.
My other three honourable mentions were Beartooth the Surface. I think that to shift that up and go super positive and still sound like Beartooth and just release such a great, fun, beautiful album start to finish was really great. Bury Tomorrow, The Seventh Son. Going back to the metalcore thing, man, these guys just fucking smashed it. New members, like a little bit of a new sound, stretching their wings. What a good band. What great fucking dudes.
Yeah.
And what an excellent live band. Finally getting to see them.
Yeah.
Like years and years later was just so great. And then my last one for honourable mentions was Taking Back Sunday 152.
Oh, you went and did it.
Yeah. I fucking loved it.
Yeah,
I
it
loved
told you it was
so
great,
much.
right?
I loved it so much.
Yeah, good.
It was so good.
It was. I didn't put that in my honourable mentions, but I looked at it and I was like, the other one's for me. By the way, we share Beartooth and Seventh Son. So I had Surface and Seventh Son in there because you're right, for exactly those reasons. I feel like Beartooth came back with an album that was a change up in vibe, but was still just so well executed. Yeah. And Bury Tomorrow, I think, is the best album of their career. I feel like it just covers off so much of them and elevates them. I had two others that you didn't. One you definitely wouldn't have. Did I be on? Movements, Ruckus.
Great album.
Fucking amazing album.
Yeah.
That album has had a heap of replay for me. Also with Court. So you talk about listening to stuff with Amy. I have that. My wife and I listen to like a lot more like pop punk, indie-ish sort of stuff when we're together. And that's an album I can put on when she's there and we can listen to together. I'm so excited for New Bloom Fest next year. I think it's going to be such a good time. So if you're in Australia and haven't got tickets for that, do that.
See you there.
And the last one was Petey, USA.
I expected that to be in there. I expected it to be in either your top or either that.
Yeah. I didn't get my top ones, but it's also because it came out too recently to probably get as a not replay.
Yeah,
but
cool.
Petey for me that album is awesome. It's a good change up from the last album, Lean Into Life. I feel like he's just doing this kind of bit more rock and roll Americana style stuff, but still sounds like him. So Petey wraps out my honorable mentions.
EPs.
I'll take this one away.
Go for it.
Spirit Box, The Fear of Fear.
Had it as well.
So good.
So good.
So good. Exactly what we wanted. Yeah. A great little concept EP.
Yeah.
Doesn't need much more than that. We checked out the whole trilogy songs recently, so you can watch that.
A nice little ride as well. Going, they're heavy, soft, heavy. Yeah. Like, it's just, well executed. Well done, guys.
Post Profit, Self Defeater.
Brother.
So good.
Yep.
That EP is fucking incredible. Yep. I listened to that EP in New York recently for like 3 days straight.
Nice.
Like actually, and that was a lot of listens. It's so good. It just reminds me of Incubus meets Let Live meets, I don't know what it is. It's so fun. You definitely need to go check out Post Profit.
They are fast becoming a band for me that are like an Amberlin band for me, which Amberlin should in EPs get an honourable mention. If it wasn't for my number one, they would. In the sense that Amberlin for me are at... I'm dying. Amberlin for me are an every time band. Sure. I can listen to them anytime I want.
So did you have Spirit Box as well?
I did. I had Spirit Box and Post Profit.
So my number one, well, I didn't put these in order. I put the three. Was Texas in July. Without reason.
Yeah.
That to me, I was so pleasantly... I wasn't surprised. I was just so happy with how it was.
Yeah.
I feel like the boys have come back with a sound that is, as you said, it pays tribute to metalcore in all the right ways. It's crushingly heavy, but it has some atmospheric stuff. It has emotion. I can put that on, listen to front to back, which I have countless times. Yeah. So, Texas in July.
Well, my number one EP for the year, and, those others that you mentioned would have been close, but if it wasn't for, Every Time I Die breaking up and giving us Better Lovers.
Sure.
So, Better Lovers, obviously, the band made up of members of Every Time I Die, Will Putney, and then Greg from Dillinger Escape Plan. What a fun little EP. And look, when you lose one of your favourite bands of all time and you get not only one but two great bands out of it, look, got to take the good with the bad, and I was really, really impressed with that album.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Speaking of that, do we want to get on to discoveries?
No, let's go in order. Let's go songs you can't get enough of.
Ooh, yeah, good call.
You don't have it written on the thing, do you?
I've got it on a...
Cool, yeah. So the next thing on the thing is songs you can't get enough of. I'll let you take this one away. We've got 4 songs here.
4 songs. Number 1, Seven Dust Holy Water. Now, they ended up in my Spotify Wrapped.
They did.
And I didn't realise how much I listened to them. And it turns out I listened to this album quite a bit. Didn't make it into my top albums. But again, like Amberlin, they're a band that I can listen to anytime because it's never too heavy, never too soft, never too punk, never too metal. It's just a well-rounded album. And when we checked that song out, Holy Water, we were both like, why is this band not so much bigger?
Yeah.
Because that song was so catchy
and
so great. The next one is The Plotting You Left Behind.
We share that one.
Yeah, I was going between that one and Forgotten, and this one got it because I'm like, just their ability to write such a anthemic, catchy, emotive, gripping song is just so great. Landon's voice is second to none when it comes to that real visceral, just tangible emotion. And I really love that. Next
Before
one.
you move on there, I want to talk on that as well because you said you had that between that and Forgotten. Because I also was singing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I love that they can do two polarized end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
But I had a good talk with Landon about that recently, and he was saying, he was like, the way that these songs have been received, and this gives a shout out for those of you that listen a bunch, he was like, you've given us the ability to now just do what we want to do. And I think that's so fucking exciting because they are a crazy talented band.
Yeah.
They can do it all, and by supporting them in whatever they're doing, you're allowing them to kind of do whatever. And I think that's only going to benefit everyone. So that's a really cool thing.
Absolutely. Next one, Amen, Bring Me the Horizon.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I just thought it was great. I loved it so much, and it was the culmination of Bring Me the Horizon, doing a style that I love so much, doing it well, and then incorporating one of my favorite vocals out of that,
Mr. Palumbo.
Daryl Palumbo. We get that straight up Glassjaw sounding Daryl, and I absolutely loved it. And I thought Lil Uzi Vert was a great addition as well. It didn't take away from the song for me in any aspect. It added dynamics. The last song I'm going to mention in my 4 is Sunk Loto, The Gallows Weight.
Oh, that song was wicked.
It was so fucking good.
Yeah, it was wicked. Yeah.
Like Trent from my band, and he's not as up with new music as...
He's old, is what he's saying.
He's older than me, as
no one's that old.
And he texted our band, he was just like, holy fuck, that Sunk Lotto song, the riffs.
Yeah, it's so
like,
good.
it's incredible. And for a band to come back after 20 years...
Not just 20 years of songs, 20
years. Yeah. And release something that was just so like, we're still us, we sound like us, we do what we do, but hey, we've got some new tricks.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
The rest of mine are different to yours. So I had Silent Platter, Antimatter. Now I know that was in the top albums, but that song for me got played so many times. I feel like, and I talked about this before, that like synthcore vibe, which I made a whole playlist for, which you can check out in the description. That song was like top of that. It encompassed that sound that I was looking for and wanting, and they did it better than anyone else.
Yeah.
So Antimatter was in there. Left Behind, we've been on that one. Next one, massive mix up here. Fred Again, Adore You. We didn't cover on the channel.
Okay.
It's a song I've listened to so much. It's featuring this... do you know the song at all? Do you listen to Fred Again ever?
No.
You do know the song. It played at my wedding. You have heard it before.
Okay, I've heard it.
Played after we got married, so after the actual ceremony, whilst we were signing our thing, that song played for a bit.
Cool.
So I think Fred Again is such an interesting... We don't cover much like dancey electronic music on here because they often don't have film clips and that sort of stuff with it. But I listen to quite a lot of like electronic inspired stuff as well. And Fred Again to me is such an interesting character. The way he samples and writes his music and the bits he gets are so interesting. The vocalist, who I can't even pronounce the vocalist name, who's on this track, has such a unique sound. It's just a really beautiful, fun, uplifting song.
Yeah, I like
so that's on there. And then the last one I had was by Between You and Me.
Oh, what a fucking summer jam!
It's an absolute summer jam. I think this might be my favourite song they've ever done. I think I really do. I've listened to it so much since they released it. I think that the guys have written this really beautiful 90s inspired rock and roll with a touch of pop punk song. Yeah. It's anthemic, it's summery, it's fun. And the more I've listened to it, the more I picked up on all like the production stuff. They've done such a good job with there. I'm really, really proud of them. So that gets in there into my top 4.
All right, so...
Discovery of the Year is next.
Discovery, yeah. Look, now, I'm just going to come and just do the obvious and say Many Eyes, because... But that's not the one I'm choosing. I'm just giving an honourable mention to Many Eyes.
Mention.
Well, because, I mean, like, Keith Buckley from Every Time I Die starts a new band. It's technically a new discovery.
Yep.
It was just kind of dropped into us. But my new discovery was Hanabiye.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
You know what? Like... The Japanese thing, the kawaii core thing, is not for everyone. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
But listening to them and getting to meet them and then watch them, like up close and personal, man, these girls are special.
Incredible. Yeah, they got
just an incredible live band.
Yeah.
Really cool, fun, quirky, everything. Songs, outfits, like personas, Just an incredible band.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what
Super
they do next.
Yours.
Discovery of the Year for me was the Home Team. This is a band that I had listened to, not knowing I'd listened to them. I
Okay.
had one song on a pop punk playlist
Yep.
for like 2 years and didn't really accredit it to this band. But after they featured with both the Broadside track, Cruel, Brian Butcher, the singer, featured.
Yeah.
And there was something else they did, This Wildlife. He also featured on This Wildlife on another track. He's featured on a few songs this year, but in between, I went and listened to, and I have listened to Slow Bloom, their last album, so many times now. I mentioned it to you recently in a video. You haven't listened to them yet.
I haven't.
I know. But that to me is a band that I think is doing such cool things. Loud, their recent single, which we checked out, you guys will have seen that by now. I think it's really fun. I'm excited to see what they do. I think they're like a really cool, fun, quirky energy. He has a great voice.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to do really cool things. Disappointment. Oh, let's go with surprise of the year, because that, to me, I'm going to go next because it ties into you. Many Eyes. Many Eyes got surprise of the year for me because they kind of just came out of nowhere. We didn't really know what was happening. As you said, we kind of got the rest of the band doing their thing and no real news from Keith. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Many Eyes just dropped. And it was a surprise, and a very welcome surprise. Those two tracks have been played a lot for me.
Yeah.
I think they're both on my Dirty Sexy Metal playlist, which you can check out down below as well. But I feel like it's what I love about Every Time I Die, but in a slightly new variation.
Yeah.
I think Better Lovers is quite a lot different to Every Time I Die.
Yes.
Many Eyes is a little bit more similar because of
Keith's
Keith
voice.
is the reason. He was the reason I loved that band as much as I did.
Yeah.
I did love the band, but he was the kind of anchor for that.
Yep.
And have him anchored in a new band, that was
really
a lovely
iconic
surprise
style
for me.
No one else that sounds like him.
No.
Except me.
Someone tries.
Disappointment. Is that what? Oh no, surprise! I've done my surprise.
You haven't done your surprise.
Mine's an easy one, and it may come as a bit of a surprise, but Metallica 72 Seasons.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I've been listening to Metallica since I was fucking this big.
3 weeks ago. He had a growth spurt.
And I just think, like, for a band that's been around so long, it must be so hard to keep people happy without varying too much from your sound. I think this was like, is it And Justice for All or Master of Puppets or fucking, the Black Album? No, it's not. But Hetfield sounds better than he has in a long, long time. It was fast. It was aggressive. It had all the stuff I like about Metallica. Not as good as not better than it's ever been done, but I would say as good as it's ever been done.
Agreed.
It's just enjoyable. It's just Metallica.
They came back and did what
they did. Metallica.
Everything you want them to do.
Yeah.
And anyone that says otherwise is
just an idiot. Yeah.
Agreed. Disappointment of the year. I've talked about this on the channel a whole bunch. Guns N' Roses live. I was so disappointed in that show. That sucked. That was such a letdown for me. I was thinking about this one and from like a music video perspective. And there hasn't been many that we haven't liked. I thought about the recent POD tracks and thought about them because I was disappointed with both of those. But then I remembered this live show and I was overwhelmed with disappointment. Yeah. So Guns N' Roses to me were a band that I just have always loved, grown up loving. And the live show, I just was like, stop.
Fair call. Yeah. So with these like surprises and...
We need to be quick because that camera's going to overheat.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, my disappointment for the year was Avenged Sevenfold. Their album.
Yeah, and we talked about that one.
Yeah, it was just, I love that a band is trying new things. Now, you go back to the Metallica thing. It's hard to keep fans happy when you've been around so long. Metallica, obviously, twice as long. But it's just like, they didn't even do Avenged Sevenfold in that album. And I get wanting to expand and try things. But for me, it's great if you loved it. For me, it fell completely flat. Sure. There was nothing there that grabbed me. It didn't even warrant me going back to go, maybe I just need to give it more time.
I didn't listen to it because you gave it such a bad review.
Well, there you go.
I trust you.
No offense to the guys.
We're back. That was just our camera overheating, so I had to turn it off for a little bit. But we're going to finish things up here with live show of the year. This was a really hard one.
This was ridiculously hard. We are so blessed to do so many live shows now and go along to these things and see these bands. Not only see them, but see them up close and from different perspectives and spend time with them. And all of that really changes your experience and how you receive a show, I think.
I tried to go into that taking away from the fact that we do get as you said, some very intimate experiences of getting to hang out with the bands. And then
Yeah.
I tried to step away from like, who did I like the most as people, and therefore it affected my show, and just be like, what show did I enjoy the most?
Yeah. Okay.
There was two for me.
All right. I've got 3 mentions.
Okay.
Yeah. One of them I'm not going to talk about too much, but yeah. I also removed festival appearances because a festival vibe is just fun. So the third one that I'm going to give an honourable mention to was Kiss at the stadium, getting to see them on their final ever show in Australia, apparently. You know, and it's my daughter's favourite band of all time, and enjoy that with my partner and both of my kids was just was fucking great. So that was really good.
Yep.
Second last one I'm going to mention was Ghost. Again, being able to experience that with my family, and shout out to Destroy Alliance for the fantastic tickets when, you know, we were otherwise going to have to stand. Ghost were just incredible. It was such a show. It was just such an insane show, and I have so much more appreciation for that band seeing them live.
Cool.
Do your first one and then tell me your top.
So my honourable mention was Slowly, and Between You and Me.
Great
Slowly. Yeah, that show was just fantastic.
Yeah.
It was such a fun energy.
How many times did we see Slowly
we saw
this
them
year?
A lot this year. You almost ruined it by playing bass, but you didn't. You did a good job. Well done. Johnny got up and played bass with Between You and Me. It was just, I'm so proud of both bands. They did such a good job. It was such a good energy. We also got to go with our partners, so that's a really fun thing to share that. So that, again, same sort of reason. But my number one was Don Broco.
Ooh.
It was and my reason for this, as I said, we've been to a lot of shows, was that it was the most fun show, and because I didn't have a preconceived notion of what the live experience was going to be, and it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
It was a real sing-along, high energy, just a vibe, and yeah, I really loved that.
Yeah, like I've loved the band for so long, so it really should have been in my top ones, but obviously, you know, family experience trumps it for me, I think, and I try and remove that a little bit, but it's hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were so fantastic. My number one was Polaris at the Roundhouse, for a number of reasons.
Roundhouse?
Oh, not
Horden?
Roundhouse, Horden Pavilion, yeah. For a number of reasons. Number one, seeing those guys get to a level that I truly believe they deserve.
Yep.
It was an incredible show. You know, just them as a band, but also the production that they had.
Yep.
And the other thing was getting to share that one again with my family. The experience of having Dustin do that content with Jamie was fun.
Yeah.
And I am biased on this one because the Polaris dudes were so fucking cool to my kids and so lovely and genuine, and they got to watch right from the side of the stage and be up close and personal. You know, greet the band as they came off stage and bottle flip with them and stuff. And for me, I still think the show deserves my top show of the year, but that, for me as a dad and someone who wants to show my kids why I love this music so much, was the perfect, you know, reason to show them that this is a really, really great community to be a part of, and it's a really great, loving, inclusive, and just, regardless of how heavy and angry the music is, it's just full of beautiful people that have massive hearts, and so that's why it got number one for me.
I didn't add that in because I felt
You're
like
an
I was
asshole.
biased. And, well, I also went to both shows. I went to Newcastle and Sydney because I'm a better friend than you are.
Damn it! He got me!
So I got to experience that show twice in the 1 week. Newcastle and Sydney had both different energies. Obviously, Sydney's the hometown show, and that was big, and it was awesome. They had the pyro. It was super fun. But I felt like our friendships with them, and again, as you said, I'm so proud of them. Also, massive shout out to Jesse from Wind Waker, who stepped in and did such an amazing job of stepping into a really tough gig of taking Ryan's part on that tour. I think he did an amazing job, and I hope he feels like he's proud of what he did, because he should be. He did an amazing job. I love all those dudes. I also love, like, August Burns Red, one of my all-time favourite bands, was on that, playing with them.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time with them at both shows.
Currents were at that show as well, so...
Yeah. So there was, I mean, I didn't have much to do with them, but I'm talking about from a backstage, spending time with them thing. That's why I didn't put that in there, because I felt like I was biased, and I've talked about August Burns Red enough on here to not be like just the biggest fanboy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, both shows were amazing, and I'm so excited to see what Polaris do going forwards.
For sure.
They've got a few big shows coming up, so I'm really excited for them.
on the spending time backstage with bands, it's not necessarily something that we mean to or like to gloat about, but we want to say a massive thank you and a shout out to all the bands that let us into their safe space, that let us into their backstage, not even just for content, but to hang out. And, you know, like, you sometimes feel like you have a bit of imposter syndrome, but, you know, to feel like you're welcome there and to be trusted around that sacred place is something that we don't take lightly and are very grateful for. And we do honestly, genuinely appreciate all of you and love you very much. And that goes for you guys as well who watch the channel and
you're the reason
hours.
that we get those opportunities.
Yeah,
this
100%.
started as just us not being able to go live music, talking about the stuff that we wanted to talk about, and now we get to have those experiences and hopefully bring you in and along for that. But as Johnny said, like at the festival the other week, I said to him several times, being like, I have such imposter syndrome. One, probably more than you do, because I'm not a musician. I don't have any skill.
I thought me more than you because I'm not like you have a huge social media presence.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything in this space. People would be like, oh yeah, take your shirt off, you got muscles.
Hey Johnny, take your shirt off, give us a wobble.
Dan and Polaris. But for the most part, you have credibility of playing in bands and having been in that space before. I walked in with no credibility, just a passion for it, and so it does feel out of place sometimes. And so, as Johnny said, it's because of you guys giving us the support and watching and sharing our stuff that's allowed us to step in and then hopefully continue to bring you guys more in-depth look into this world and sharing that stuff with the artists. We have some really, really cool stuff planned for next year. We'll get into that when we get to it. But we'll finish up by saying thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Our worth, and you know what any band or touring company or whatever, our worth as seen by them means nothing if you guys don't give us that worth. And you guys do give us that worth by saying we enjoy watching you and what you bring us and showing us music and letting us get close to these bands. So yeah, like Ned said, thank you so much. We appreciate you and we love you all. And we hope you have an absolutely fantastic, safe, love-filled, music-filled Christmas.
And just the holiday in general. Please go through and share with us your top picks. I would love to see that. If you don't want to do it in the comments, as we said, we'll share that on our socials.
Jump on our socials, yeah.
But yeah, comment below as well if you want to say your favourites there. I'd love to hear from you guys because that's the best thing about this. We have this awesome community and I love seeing you guys, often regulars, comment back and forth to each other about what you liked, what you didn't like, what you picked up on songs. That's so cool. So thank you, and we'll see you guys in 2024.
Also, quick shout out and thank you to all the labels, all the touring companies, all the management, TMs, and anybody that's been a part of helping us keep this going and continue growing it into this new space that we're doing. We wouldn't be here without you guys, and we appreciate you all so much. And
thanks for not kicking us out.
Yeah, we will continue to do be the best versions of our worst selves for you guys.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at.
Yeah. So shit. See ya.